BB851, turn right, heading 180. 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
Welcome back to Aviation News Weekly, the show every weekend where I recap some of the most talked about aviation stories that did not get their own video here on the channel, all for your own convenience. Buckle in, stay tuned, and let's get the show on the road. But before I do so, did you know I have a second channel, DJ's Transport? Do be sure to drop it a subscription. There's more aviation content, rail news, and generally it's a great place to be. Beginning though right off the bat with this video, we've got more updates surrounding an up-and-coming merger with the airline industry, and one that has been a heavy talking point on the channel and the wider aviation industry in the past year or so, I'd say. From most recently the patent for an updated logo for Korean Air, to now in the past week, Singapore giving the okay for the Korean Air and Asiana merger to go ahead in the future. It's the latest in a run of crucial moments for the merger to eventually proceed, following the CCCS, the Competition and Consumer Commission for Singapore, giving unconditional approval for combining the two businesses without any conditions. Of course, you may be asking if this is a crucial part of the merger getting the green light. It actually is, and it's down to the pair needing generally approval from authorities, especially in Singapore's case, who had to review the merger under the Singapore Competition Act. However, after a thorough review of the two businesses was concluded, they believed that the combined brand wouldn't impact the sector, and also wouldn't raise ticket prices, while allowing Singapore Airlines, of course, the flag carrier, to remain competitive across the broader aviation industry, this being a crucial point. The last thing the CCCS would do is approve the merger if they believed it was going to impact the business of Singapore Airlines, and when I say impact, I mean significantly take away market share and put that airline at risk. While details regarding this merger do remain thin, Korean Air needs to continue to seek approval from regulatory bodies, including two being of the European Union and the United States. On top of that though, there's still Australia and the UK, among a host of other regulators that need to approve the merger, so there's still a long way to go with this. While this is a step, like I just mentioned, there's still many more things that need to be done. And with time, and as more is generally wrapped up in the deal, more details will undoubtedly come to light over the future of the airlines within the industry, from fleet to branding and to much more. It was a busy week for orders and deliveries, with results being published. However, the focus for this topic is in the form of potential orders thanks to FedEx, who are reportedly getting closer and closer to buying the next generation of freighter aircraft for their operations. This is not the first time we've heard FedEx may be closing in on an order within the industry, as it has been widely reported before the year just closed out. However, in saying that, with the launch of the 777-8F in the recent weeks, things are heating back up again. No aircraft manufacturer has been selected for this order, but naturally the decisions are basically between Airbus and Boeing for the 350F and the 777-8F respectively. As for which one, only time will tell. Although, what I should mention is last year it was reported that FedEx may have actually been closer to Boeing, when we knew it as simply only the 777X freighter. And this was over Airbus's offering. Now that could have easily changed, but based on previous reports and an already established fleet of the 777Fs, they may be inclined to opt for the new -8F in favour of the 350F. We know that for sure though, the freighter side of the industry is continuing to recover following the emergence of the global pandemic, and is actually reporting stronger than ever numbers. To help cope with the added demand and in turn capacity increases, freighters have been needed now more than ever, and it's safe to say that they've been in hot demand, not just with the recent launch of two new options, that being once again those offerings from Airbus and Boeing, but also generally even the 777F, one of, if not the most reliable and popular freighter choices currently being produced on the market immediately. And we're seeing a lot of faith being put in this 777F, with continued orders from customers almost every single month. Even if it is only 3 units, it's still faith in the type. Now over to Emirates. The past week has been pretty busy, I'd say, with several routes relaunching and also, in addition, new announcements coming concerning the ramping up of services. However, the focus for today sits on their services down to Melbourne and Sydney. At the beginning of the month, Emirates resumed their daily Airbus A380 service, something that had been missing since the beginning of the pandemic, as the 777 aircraft was the type that flew in. It's a vote of confidence to the city, as Australia does begin to reopen to the rest of the world again, with a border reopening date now set for the middle to late end of February. Above that, Emirates, thanks to the increase in aircraft, has now over 50% on their capacity from Melbourne through to the Dubai hub over previous aircraft. In a statement, a key vice president for Emirates said, "At the airline, we are overjoyed to see the A380 return to Melbourne. With the return of the Victorian capital to our A380 network, Australians will have greater choice for leisure and business travel." Adding, "This year marks the 25th anniversary of our service to Australia, with Melbourne serving as our first Australian destination in 1996. Our devotion to this country is as great today as it was then. Adding more seats to our Melbourne service demonstrates our commitment as we do continue to expand our services to Australia." The boost of these services that he speaks of did only continue a week after the further announcement that Emirates will place a second daily A380 service through to Sydney. The additional frequency from the Dubai-based airline will begin from March the 1st and does perfectly intertwine with the recent announcement that Australia will be finally reopening its borders to tourists, albeit I believe only select states will be involved in this. EK412, as the flight number will be known, will arrive in Sydney at 0700 with a departure back out at 21:45 the same day, making it quite the lengthy layover of around about 14 hours for the Emirates A380. Coverage on developments within Sydney, though, actually only continues, but we're moving to a different airline now. This is the UK-based airline British Airways, who also announced in the past week the resumption of their Sydney services that'll travel, of course, through Singapore. It's the first time since the beginning of the pandemic that the UK-based airline will make the very long flight and return to Australian shores, with the flight set to commence on March 27th, where it will leave London Heathrow. However, due to time difference, of course, and flying time, it will arrive in Sydney on March the 29th. The 787 is indeed the aircraft that will be utilised for the operations. Of course, this will be over the 777 that you may have previously seen at the airport in recent years. The head of the British Airways sales for Asia Pacific said, "We can't wait to welcome our customers back on board our Sydney to London flights. We will be honoured to play our part in reuniting families and friends with their loved ones after such a long time apart." Adding, "Finally, since we last flew this route, customers in Australia and the wider region can now join the executive club, and with the resumption of flights, can finally start to access some of our fantastic benefits on offer." It's safe to say it's been another busy week in the aviation industry. While of course there are topics covered in today's video, there's still a lot I didn't have the chance to cover. But if you have any thoughts, do not hesitate to let me know down in the comment section below, a great place to have a dialogue and a chat. I'd be very interested to hear your take, whether it's updates surrounding one of the most significant airline mergers, of course that being between Korean Air and Asiana Airlines, which is slowly progressing, or maybe the thoughts of FedEx opting for a new freighter aircraft. Could it be the A350F, or the 777-8F, or even to potentially conclude with some services ramping up from both Emirates and British Airways. Thank you very much for watching another Aviation News Weekly. Your support is greatly appreciated. Do take care and be safe, and I'll see you next time.